Yay,
Hey.
yay. Hey, hey, hey. Is that the intro for this show still?
I
Hey,
think
hey,
so. I
hey.
did it instinctively right out the gate,
Man,
even though it's been
I
a month.
it has been that long. Every like I watched one or two of our episodes back and heard like the hey, hey, hey that I do. I'm like, should that be the intro to our shit? And I was like, well, we kind of want like a bit of a hook, but like I'm just fucking tagging on to this fucking, should I even say it? Fucking BitConnect meme. Like still, even to this day.
I
Uh
mean, BitConnect still has a warm place in people's hearts to this day, so
to in
got
some
staying power. It's got
in
some
some
staying
people's
power.
hearts, yeah, for sure.
Well, man, we
Yeah.
we got some stuff to update. Last time we spoke, we covered. I don't think we covered too much on the nutrition side, but we did cover a lot about the markets and exchange rates with currencies and kind of where
Yeah.
things are headed with the Federal Reserve. And then, yeah, I don't think we covered too much on nutrition outside of overall trends from what I
No,
remember.
we kind of did the announcement, I guess, of this new format. And then we did
Yeah,
almost like a macros and markets or a macros and markets version of what we do, but honestly more just markets, right? Like we started just doing episodes that were a little more dedicated to market talk and then like kind of enlaced with some macros as it pertains to like fitness. So macronutrients being like the fucking pertinent slang there. But
yeah.
I think you're right. I think mainly the last episode we had was a much more market based episode, which I don't know, which I think is great from time to time. And one of the reasons I think that we ultimately went to like this month to month schedule is that unfortunately, uh, the freaking macros topics, like whichever topic we've picked week over week, I think we did 25 or 26 episodes. It's not a huge draw yet. Like it's not drawing like there's some episodes that drew like 50 live viewers, and those tended to be the macro episodes, and like that's that's cool, that's fine. It's just like if we're doing week over week, um or sorry, markets, if we're doing week over week macros or like fitness mindset of fitness topics, it just wasn't quite getting the draw I think we both thought. I'm not sure if you agree with that take on it, as to like if that was the impetus for moving to a month over month schedule, but it just seemed like we did have some pretty cool topics. It was just like if it was every single week, it almost seemed like a slow, like it was slowly turning over in terms of viewership as opposed to slowly turning up, which I think is what we want and what everyone wants.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I think in general, dude, the crypto space is still going to be hesitant to the health and wellness space, right? They're not really directly correlated in that way. So we're kind
Yeah.
of hoping the Hex audience may be a little bit more open to something like that. But in general, it's also going into a bear market where less people are active in general. People are pretty upset. They're not super happy about what's going on in general. It's not like as happy as things were when we were just hitting all time highs. And
Yeah.
yeah, the last thing people want to focus on right now is overall health at the moment, and that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I agree, man. I definitely think that. And the other thing too is keep in mind we don't really have the kind of financial reporting that obesity, at least in America, I'm speaking for America at this point, that it deserves to have. Like you have all these people on YouTube talking about finance, all these people streaming and going over what's going on with the Federal Reserve and exchange rates and the world economy and interest rates in America and this and that. And nobody really talks about obesity, not even the CDC or these other organizations that really should be doing more. So we don't have like a consistent stream of content outside of the
Mhm.
educational side, which can get kind of stale sometimes. Let's be honest. After you go through a certain amount of it, that you just kind of rinse repeating things. So it does kind of demand a format where maybe if we were interviewing people consistently, or maybe if we, something that brought in fresh new content every time,
Yeah.
because it's tough. We don't have the kind of feedback loop that like finance has or the crypto industry has, or what's going on with legislation or Richard or whatever, that just keeps things fresh by default. So I totally agree with you. I think it is something to like revisit more thoroughly, but how we do it may have to be a bit more clever for sure. And that's yet to be seen on how that could happen.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, while you were just like kind of going through your thoughts about that, one thing that just like popped into my brain was um we just we just kind of like, I don't know, intuitively came to this idea of like, how about a monthly check-in type of thing to start people off on their month right with their mindset of fitness. Like, hey, come check back in. Maybe you met your once or two or three times per week type of goals when it comes to health and fitness. Maybe you want to come hear what we have to say about some sort of health and fitness topic. Maybe you don't, whatever. Um, it is a long period of time, so maybe like in addition to that, we could add interviews, like you just mentioned. I don't know, like the doc, like we were talking about
Yeah.
in the green room, like someone like the doc would be interested in coming on. But when we're hosting a space kind of like this, where we're talking about um, month over month stuff, like hey, the September show is, I think, is going to be a lot of it is going to be rear or backward looking, like where we're kind of looking at what's occurred since the August show. Like there was no August show, but like since August 5th, so a month ago, what's occurred. So like a lot of the notes I pulled up is kind of around like some of the shit we talked about last time. But yeah, like I do agree with you when you say like interviews could be like a massive, I think, add to this channel. Like maybe that becomes like our in between time. I don't know. Like having the doc on for the middle of the month, or having RG on for the middle of the month, and like keeping like this monthly mindset, or whatever we're gonna call it, mindset of fitness, first Monday of every month, I think is still a cool idea, especially as we get like ramped up here to like actually kind of like curating some topics and looking a little more in depth at some of like the actual like ongoings of the past month. In addition to that, I think, yeah, beneficial to like bring on some professionals like the doc, like, I mean, even like RG, who's been a patient or a pupil of the doc, um, or whoever else has gone through some sort of mindset of fitness change.
Yeah.
So I think that's, yeah, a big way that we could grow or move from here. I mean, this is an experiment, right? Like we were doing week every single freaking week. Like we did 26, 27 episodes. I still can't believe that. It's been like, it's September. We are 9 months into the year, or almost 9 full months, and 8 full months into the year, 8 months in what, 5 days?
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we did 26 weeks of episodes. Like we took a week off here and there for like stat holidays and shit like that. But yeah, that's crazy. And yeah, it is yeah, noticeable that it's not quite grabbing uh the eyes that I think you or I think both of us kind of probably expected this. Like I know it's like, this is not a glamorous topic to talk about like the nuances of fucking health and fitness, and say like, hey, like this latest craze that has promised you to make you fucking have a six pack might not be up to snuff. Like I get that that's not the most, like, it's it's not by nature eye grabbing and catching and like user onboarding, but I think given enough time, it probably does. And especially like you and I have surmised within the hex community, so that is still, I think, a hope for both of us. um
Yeah.
yeah, so that all of that to say, and just like the thing you mentioned there about interviews, I think either within these monthly recaps that we do, if it's going to stay this way, or adding like a specified like spot or a dedicated spot every 2 weeks or something. So now we would have the monthly recap at the top of the month, and then middle of the month an interview with who knows who, right? The doc, RG, Hexo, like whoever. I don't know.
100%. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's it's going to be tough still, but I think it's still worthwhile trying some new things with it and seeing where people are at, because kind of like what we've been alluding to with the trends and what's going on with obesity and healthcare costs.
Yeah.
It's like we're in a bear market until the problem gets way worse as it pertains to the bull market equaling shining more attention on the subject. Of course, at that point, it's way too late, as you know, but preventative is not sexy. Understanding the
Uh-huh.
nuances of this stuff is not sexy. It only becomes sexy when there's a price tag attached to it. It's really, really tough to convey that in this space, like exponentially tough. And as medicine gets better and you can put that off for longer periods, that's been working for a while until recently, where people may have been realizing and seeing that they've been trying to book a doctor or get a new primary care physician, and it's like a 4-month wait to see them or a 5-month wait to see them. Guys, scarcity like that is just like food scarcity. It happens
Mm.
by the prices going up first, and then the food actually isn't there. So what do you think? What do you think stage we're at right now when a 6-month wait is normal to be seen by your doctor? What do you think happens when it becomes a 2-week wait at the ER or a multi-hour wait and you have some head wound because you haven't got an accident and you can't be seen by somebody at urgent care, which has happened to a couple of my clients. So the point is yeah, I do unfortunately think that I don't want to say it's going to be for nothing, but like think about it this way. The finance side of things got a lot of attention the past couple of years, ever since the stimulus checks went out, right? People got
Mm-hmm.
stimulus checks, they started investing, everybody started learning about finance and interest rates, and all this information started coming out. And it led to a lot of bad. We're going through a lot of bad, right? There's a lot of pain to come soon. Not only in Europe, United States, everybody's is going into a lot of the pain zone here. So my point is I think when a healthcare collapse happens, there will be a lot of attention on it. There will be a ton of growth and understanding, but not without a lot of pain, right? And I think that is something that unfortunately has to happen, unless we had like a community of like 20 million people that were all about, tracking food and understanding this stuff. Then maybe we can gradually make that shift. But I can't think of someone with a platform big enough, to be honest with you, that'd be able to do that, and shift mindsets that quickly and easily on a larger scale. And yeah,
Yeah.
crypto collapse, you said it perfectly. The healthcare collapse is already happening in silence. That's something where I had the privilege of working with about 30 nurses over the past couple years in probably 20 to 30 different states in America. And it was insane, the stuff I would hear from them on the front lines, and them saying, listen, 80% of the people that come through here are obese. And we were this close to straight up not having the personnel to serve anybody. That's how close we were when it came to the I'm not going to say the sickness name, but when
Yeah.
the C thing came over, right, or however it came over, and we had a big pressure on the healthcare system, we were on the
Yeah.
brink of collapse right there, and that was at that level of obesity in 2020, guys. Obesity hasn't been posted by the CDC yet, but I can tell you right now it's up at least 15 to 20% across the board. So if
Yeah.
another sickness comes in that is even more deadly or the same amount or even a little bit less than that, we're talking like, yes, the healthcare system is not prepared to handle it. It's like a bridge that barely held on the last time a bunch of cars drove over it. And now a bunch of semi trucks are about to run over it, and it's just going to collapse all at once. So the first signs you see of that collapse happening, like Crypto Class said, is why is my primary care physician 6 months booked out? Why are my doctors canceling specific insurance plans, like I've had with a lot of clients? Why is
Yeah.
it so difficult to be seen by dentists or whoever? And it's not like it's happening everywhere at every state and every place, but across the board, it's becoming a commonality. And really, what that tells you is you can only do so much, but you do need to get your act together in the preventative space, because without that, you're kind of screwed, man. Honestly, you're going to be absolutely screwed if there's ever a shortage of medication. If there's ever something that you have to rely on and get from a hospital, you're asking for a bad time, because I could get hit by a car, right? I'm a very healthy person. If I get hit by a car, and I'm screwed too. Healthy people need to realize that they're screwed too by this. They need to care more. If they get hit by a car and they have to go to the hospital, it's a 2-week wait for the ER. Good luck. That's it, right? So it's not just unhealthy people that need to get together and fix this. Everybody does. So yeah, that silent collapse that nobody for some reason is talking about. Notice nobody in either political spectrum is even remotely mentioning it, because we have two big problems, two big problems to focus on: inflation, paying bills, paying rent. We can't even focus on healthcare. Healthcare is not the bigger credit card bill right now. That's not the
Hmm.
creditor calling you right now. It will be soon. Trust me, people aren't going to be worrying about inflation soon. When they can't get insulin, when they're
Yeah.
dying because they have a
Yeah.
heart attack, they won't care about paying rent anymore. Trust me. But that credit card, that creditor has not yet called America. Not quite yet. It almost did when that thing came over in 2020. But yeah, definitely some scary stuff in that regard. Yeah, you can see some of these comments from
From crypto.
Class.
Yeah.
Class, where is it that you work, if you don't mind us asking?
Yeah.
They mentioned that their experienced staff quit, because I'm noticing that too.
Our
A lot of
experienced
staff.
staff quit. Yeah. We're stretched AF. Chronic severe underfunding and under acknowledgement by the government. Yeah, I'm
Australian
guessing
emergency
some
physician.
Australian. There you go.
Well, first off, thank you for what you do. Clearly,
Yeah.
not enough of y'all, and obviously, you guys are swamped. Because remember, like, to be fair, I'm not a doctor or a healthcare hater. They're in the reactionary based space. They say you have a head wound, we cover it. We are going to fix that. Right? You are
Hmm.
diabetic. Okay, here's your medication. You should do this and this. They're not there on the preventative side. That's what we have been talking about in this channel, right?
Yeah.
And they're overwhelmed. It is not their job to fix the preventative side. And changes in culture, expectations, calorie counts, activity levels, all of this stuff has come together to create an obesity crisis that is going to overload the system. And yeah, it's not a physician's job to fix that. It's not a doctor's job to fix that. It's not a nurse's job to fix that. But we don't got enough to handle what we have right now. And this is someone in Australia telling you this. America is about the same, except we were total dicks to our nurses and started paying the traveling nurses way more than the ones that have been loyal to the actual hospital they work at. My aunt's a nurse, and she's in upstate New York, and I just talked to her because I was home a few weeks ago in New York, and she's like, "Yeah, dude, we lost like a quarter of our staff that we're never getting back. They're doing other things to make money now. They're never going to do it again." And people got to understand what that means. You can't just lose part of your workforce like that and have a exponentially increasing obesity rate, not only in adults but children too, and expect the system to operate normally.
Yeah.
Um, so, like I said, that creditor has not called yet. We have bigger problems, bigger creditors that are, I mean, like the loudest person gets talked to first, right? In customer service. Same thing here. The loudest person is what? You have a collapsing dollar as it pertains to food, rent, all these other things, right? It's losing value. And you have the job market suffering, you have rising interest rates, you have the housing market starting to top out, you have all these problems coming in, you have high gas prices. That is the creditor. That's what people are yelling about. That's what people are complaining about. That's what people are bickering about in politics. And what we're talking about, I mean, exercise, this is the sleeping giant.
Hmm.
This is the one hit KO. Legit. I wish we had a bigger audience. Honestly, that's why I want to do it. I want to do with the Facebook group, because I think if they do, that does keep growing to like, 100, multi hundred thousands of people, to do like a show where you bring people on and interview them, because I think this is a topic that will do what the finance, how all these channels popped up about finance for the past couple of years and did so well and
Hmm.
educated people, like did a really good service, right? And taught so many people about what's been going on that let's be honest, people up top don't really want the lower people to really know about. We have the power to do the same thing, and half the battle is like, when are people going to care about it? And unfortunately, like, yeah, when shit hits the fan, people start caring. That's kind of what happened when the thing came over, right? The stock market collapsed, everybody freaked out, unprecedented financial programs. People are like, what the hell's going on? Why am I getting this free money? I need to learn about this. So
Yeah.
how that looks on the healthcare side of things, I can't really say. I don't exactly know, but I can tell you, at least on the American side, we were on the razor thin edge of the entire healthcare network collapsing from a hospital standpoint, specifically talking about hospitals. So, yeah, kind of crazy that we have a physician here in the chat out of 11 people.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So, yeah, I think that's a good synopsis of why we're going to have to be frustratingly patient here, man.
Mm,
Frustratingly patient.
yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, if people aren't listening now, after what happened in 2020 and the amount of people that passed that probably didn't have to pass because of pre-existing conditions like heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure, uh, they're going to keep rolling that balance over. Like I said, the creditor, they haven't called yet. They will. And healthy people are going to care when it impacts them. Like I have some friends, dude. I have some friends that are just like so aloof and just don't care and are just so unaware of what's going on and how it could impact them. So it's just so impossible to have these conversations too. It's so impossible to get everybody on the same page, right? People who are overweight are so like alone. It's such a difficult spot to get started. The people who are in shape don't want to be bothered with it. They don't want to deal with it. And they just can't fathom that they're going to be paying 50% more on their health insurance and their employer can't afford that. And their employer starts to pay them less. And then it just keeps rolling down this Boulder effect, So it's like people don't get it yet. I don't know what the pain point has to be or
Mm,
where it's going to hit hard enough. We can take some guesses. I thought it was people dying. That wasn't it. Seriously, think about it. Wasn't people dying. I think we probably all know somebody who passed from pre-existing conditions when it comes
yeah.
to that thing that came over. I know I do. And, if that's not going to do it, I am not going to put my hat in the ring and guess what it could be. I have no idea, man. Americans are weird. We are weird, dude. We are so stubborn, so incredibly stubborn. So hopefully you guys in Aussie land handle it better. And I know we did talk about this exercise. We talked about how there's a lot of third world countries that are actually rising in obesity rate too. It's been really fascinating to see. It's not just like the first world countries,
Yeah.
not just America anymore.
Yeah.
It's like India. It's like it's like these countries that are not what you'd expect to have a high obesity rate. It's across the board. Like I think the last standing one, like we saw, was what, Asia area.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it. I think that was really it, man. I mean, I'm sure there's some smaller outliers,
Yeah.
but it's like, guys, like,
Yeah. But for the big ones, you're right. It's like Asia, and that's
yeah.
it.
And it's like, how long can that culture hold on, right? As the younger group takes over and more that culture, the cultural expectation of like walking more and eating a certain kind of way, like these certain habits that probably held on a bit stronger over there. Whether it be a food perspective, right? Calorie counts from their food choices, cultural perspectives with how often they eat, the size of their meal, like all that stuff plays a big role. And America just like went in the overdrive, right? Uber Eats freaking 3 times a day. We're locked down. Like
Mm-hmm.
that just went into overdrive. But every other country, man, they're having big issues. So people can't even just make fun of America anymore because it's everybody. Trust me, I'm a big truth teller when it comes to my country. We have problems here, big ones.
Uh-huh.
But nobody's got it right. Is really what I'm saying. I don't see any country that's like, yeah, we got this under control. Y'all need to get your shit together. Haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. And true.
Interesting. You see a comment down there that just came in. We are getting funding at same stage for GPL-1 agonists for weight loss. I don't know what that means. Do you know?
I don't know. GPL-1 agonist. It's gonna be some sort of a. I feel like our doc talks about these. What's the term I want to
Class,
use?
is this a medication that, because when people when a doctor or physician assigns my
It's gonna be
client
like
or recommends a weight loss medication, people get like, this is okay for a
it's a
point of
peptide. It's
reference.
gonna be a peptide drug, I think.
Well, I would say the biggest thing from a client facing perspective is they actually think the drug they're on is helping them lose weight. Like actually, it's making them lose weight. The wording and verbiage that doctors give when prescribing medication needs to be incredibly better. It's so bad because clients don't realize that they're not actually losing weight from the medication they're on. It's not like going into their body and burning body fat, right, and making them lose weight. It's either manipulating their appetite or maybe things like that it can do, which by default could allow them to lose weight if they do actually eat less and follow their appetite. But people's understanding of these things and with these medications, I'll say this: we would have already had great success with combating obesity if these medications actually were administered across the board. And they already have been administered across the board. I mean, probably a good 50% of my clients have been on them at one point in time. culture is too strong of a beast, at least here in America. I can't speak for Australia, of course, so I'm not quite sure with Claus's stuff. But in America, culture is too strong of a situation to where people are going to be an appetite suppressant, which is what most of these are. Let's see, cumin increases insulin secretion, thereby increasing sugar metabolism. Exercise. I'll let you take that one.
Huh.
Yeah, appetite suppressant. That's what I was thinking. Because what can they do? They don't have a miracle drug that's going to actually make them lose body fat, right? It's still like they, and I wish the verbiage was better so clients could actually make a more informed decision. And once again, that's a whole other problem, right? The lack of education from the healthcare situation. But once again, they're reactionary, not preventative. But appetite suppressant, is that really what we should just be calling these things? I know it's not professional or specific, but because keep in mind, like, what if you have a client, for example, that can't get on it? Because the majority of people now are very close to type 2 diabetics, right? They're pre-diabetic. Can you have something that's going to go in there and interact with insulin secretion when they're already insulin sensitive and they're on the cusp of that? Because that's where most of America is. Like, you understand the start point is
Yeah.
it's changing rapidly. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, someone needs to lose 20 pounds, put them on an appetite suppressant. This is way too far gone.
Yeah. No,
Way too
people
far gone.
are like, yeah, a probably underreported percentage of people are bordering on pre-diabetic.
Yeah. Yep. And they don't know it.
And that number is I think like pretty crazy. That's like a guess, but it's just based on like what I see.
You know what's
Um,
crazy too is people forget to mention this. It's not just about like where people are actually at. America's cultural shift in acceptance. And I'm not saying I'm on one side or the other. I'm just having an honest conversation about it. The shift has been obvious that in our culture, the acceptance of a health range as pertains to BMI or body fat percentage has shifted very much so. And even if it's not being actually, from verbiage being said from the CDC or from a healthcare standpoint, like it's like doctors saying, hey, you're healthy if you're at 40% body fat. They're not saying it, but culturally, the acceptance of what would typically be said as this is not good, right? Like, hey, your BMI is here or your body fat percentage is here. This is not good. And it's black and white, right? Your blood panel is black and white. There is no
mhm.
there's no room for that, right? I'm trying to remove that from the equation. The point being is America has changed so much in that regard too. People don't actually think that there is a problem, right? It's like the house is on fire, except we have now come to get used to said house being on fire so much. And there's so many things to combat the house being on fire in the short term that we have learned to live with it in a way where it's so accepted that battling that is even tough. Because think about it, are people even wanting or even thinking they even need help to go to the doctor to see that they're pre-diabetic to maybe get on these medications?
Yeah.
That's just like the tip of the iceberg, because this is stuff I hear from my clients. This is stuff I hear from people that they tell me. They'll get in a fight with their significant other because they're losing weight and feeling great, and their significant other is upset because it's making them feel uncomfortable, or they don't want that person to lose weight and they want them to go out and
Yeah.
eat out with them and do these things. Like, it's like, guys, we got bigger problems right now in America.
Yeah.
Trust me. The start point, like, we got to take a deep breath and go way back. Like, administering medicine, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
I know that makes money for the
Yeah.
healthcare system. I'm just telling you, that ain't gonna fix the problem. We need to go like 50 steps back. You're like assigning someone algebra and they haven't even learned 2 + 2 = 4 yet in
Yeah.
this process, from like, at least my perspective. But that's good, at least. Zero have no financial affiliation with this drug, but it's sold out in Australia.
Sold out. So yeah,
But
like
it's
this
sold
is
out.
one that I don't know, I've never heard of. Unless like I've heard of like the pharma vernacular for it, like metformin. I'd say
I've heard of metformin.
like
Yeah, I have a
most
couple
people
clients.
I would say have heard of metformin,
Yep.
and like when it comes to the hex world, probably even more so, um, people have heard of metformin because it's one of the drugs that's kind of in the uh not the bin, like what I'm gonna call this. That's in the coffer that has maybe potential for anti-aging properties. And like one of the big things that metformin does, like it's usually prescribed like fairly early before you're actually deemed diabetic, is it helps with glucose metabolism. So if you are somewhere, I think in order to be deemed diabetic, the number is 125. Uh, I can't remember the fucking units at this point. It's either milligrams per deciliter or it's some sort. It's a weird kind of metrics, but anyways, the number is 125, and if you're 125 or more, then all of a sudden, boom, you're diabetic. But if you're 100 to 125, then you're deemed pre-diabetic, right? So it's like there's not a huge difference that's occurring from 120 to 125 or 123 to 125. So a lot of those people in general get put on
Yeah.
metformin, and it is to treat type 2. And I think the only thing it does is tries to like from the sounds of what Crypto Clouds is saying, she's talking about metabolizing glucose. It's a similar thing, is where it acts on I don't know which receptor it acts on, but it acts on a receptor somewhere to try to increase glucose uptake. So when blood glucose or blood sugar gets too high, metformin acts to decrease blood glucose. And I think there's been some early results in some like longevity studies. That's why like people like Vitalik and like the SENS Foundation have talked about it being like having potential for preserving longevity or increasing longevity, I guess. So metformin is like the one big one that I know that does have, I think, a lot of really, really good um, data behind it and uh, a large amount of it. I don't know the peptide. Like when I hear about peptide drugs, I'm all or like peptide compounds, I don't even know if I'm ready to like call them drugs, like peptides, they're just like I don't know, they're like they can be it seems like they can be fairly I don't know if I want to say easily, but like formulated quite um quickly, maybe outside the bounds of regulation, maybe. And not that that equals bad. It's just it equals less info. So a lot of the peptide drugs kind of get slung around the industry as like, hey, take this peptide and you'll get bigger muscles. It's like almost approaching the area of um, pro hormones. Have you seen those, Ryan? In like fucking sup stores where it's like, it's not gear, but it's pro hormones.
Dude,
Where they're
it's so commonplace now, especially with my because I work with mostly females, and IVF is a really really specific thing for pregnancy, but I just see that that's like so much more common now, where like just the perception that more is needed when really it's not is a common thing. And I think we talked about this before where
oh yeah,
a lot of my clients will be like, oh, I lost 1 to 2 pounds this week on my average. Something must be wrong with my metabolism. I'm going to get like my blood and stuff checked to see if my doctor can give me something to help this out. I wonder if I have an inactive thyroid or a lower
yeah,
performing thyroid. I'm like, where is this coming from? And
yeah,
obviously you have like the perception of what other people are doing and losing weight too quickly and all that stuff, but just in general, that perception of, because we can't fix the problem doing normal stuff in general now, there's more money to be made now with this stuff, which is like you said, hormone management and call it what it is, just drugs. That's all.
yeah,
It's what it is. It's drugs. So yes, I agree. I think that is going to be the next frontier of the healthcare industry, and by healthcare, I really just mean the weight loss industry to be specific here. And I think that is going to be something that, as soon as it's legislated that that's okay, if there's enough of a crisis where if steroids are needed to keep the population healthy, they already do it for sickness. I had like 6 clients just this past week, sinus infections on steroids. It's not that uncommon. Now, it's not like they're taking like, HGH over here, but the
Yeah.
point is I do think that, when the problem is big enough, what do you think they're going to do? Let everybody just die?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, obviously not. So yeah, I do think that's probably the last like red tape that they have to get through is you know because right now they already have a little bit of leeway from the FDA and on supplements and stuff like that, and you know what they did there and how much bullshit they sell. So if that's what's going on there with no integrity, what do you think is going to happen when hormone management is an open playing field? It's a wild west, Um, it's no different than gastric bypass. I mean, I have so many people have reached out to me that wanted to work with me that have gone to Mexico to get it done, and people who have passed away from doing it because of complications down the line. And I have had friends who have passed away. I have probably at least 4 clients that know people who have passed away from gastric bypass because they did it somewhere else because it was cheaper. These are the people I would want to interview. This is the stuff I hear. It's crazy. It's stuff that will make you very afraid of what's going down out there. So yeah, I definitely agree. I don't know how that's going to I don't follow as much like if there is legislation coming down the line for that kind of stuff or what's going on with the FDA. And I can't even imagine working at the FDA right now. Who the hell knows what that's like?
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know either.
I have no idea. I feel like it's a big joke, honestly. I don't know. I feel like it's like a super slow moving company because it's so massive and it's just so slow and not a whole lot can get done, you know?
Yeah.
And they have to be they're chained by their own chains, just like doctors and stuff. They have to be so professional and straightforward and things that they can't update their worldview, and because of that, they're just getting wrecked. And like the FDA is like in that spot now. I don't know. I don't want to get too off tangent here, but yeah, hormone management. Yeah, good luck with that one. You don't want to mess that up because like gastric bypass, there's no coming back. Or I had a client with a lap band who almost passed away from it. She was
Oh
working
yeah?
for a long time, had a lap band, and I was the only one that successfully got her to lose weight effectively using the process that I use, right, with the charting and the mindset
Yeah.
and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And she had a weird issue with it where, hold on, I can pull up my chat log right now. Give me a sec. Here we go. She was admitted. I have the text right here from July 12th. She was admitted to the hospital on Sunday with shortness of breath. CT scan showed she had pneumonia and a thickening of her esophagus. They did an EGD. They took a biopsy, but it wasn't cancer. Blah, 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 blah. I'm reading throughout the text here. So basically it was from, they said that it's all related to her lap band because acid somehow accumulated in her esophagus and aspirated to her lungs. This is how ridiculous our country is. We will change the size of your stomach. We will install lap bands, which is like a freaking choking mechanism on your stomach. It's like a noose on your stomach. We will do these things. And it's not even like to slight her. She's an amazing woman. But this is where we're at mentally. This is what we're relying on. So if people don't think people are going to want to inject whatever they can to change their situation,
Yeah.
and that the healthcare system won't be grimy enough to make a ton of money off of it when they already do with medication over the table or over the counter right now. It's just when it becomes enough of a problem. Right now, it'd be like, oh, what's wrong with you guys? You shouldn't be giving people hormones. Then when 80% of the country is obese and about to die, give us the damn hormones. We're going to die. Give them, we'll pay whatever. We'll put it on the central bank digital currency. We don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Tie it all together. But
yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know where these things are going to go, but I do know that eventually the stress points are there for the bridge to collapse when it comes to this. I don't think it's going to happen before all the other shit that's going on, in the world right now. That's on a much shorter time frame for sure. But it's coming. It's coming. I don't know when, but it's coming, man. So preventative. That's the place to be.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of the other stuff, though, how about Germany?
Oh
How
man,
about them oils?
the energy shit.
How about them oils?
Yeah.
Dude, Zero Hedge had a article on like the order of operations here, the events that went down over the past week right for this. So
Yeah.
this past Friday, Russia said it's not going to sell any oil to any country who is abiding by price caps. aka companies outside of Russia are saying, hey, you can't sell it for more than this amount.
Uh-huh.
So it's right there. It's like, we're not selling oil to you people that are trying to cap our price, aka
Mhm.
you're trying to control capitalism, right?
Yeah.
Saturday, Russia cuts off all natural gas flows to the EU on this past Saturday. Don't know if people knew about that.
The
That happened
Nord what's
Nord
that
Stream
called? The
1.
Nord 1 or
Yep. OPEC on Monday announced, and OPEC is, the
Mhm.
organization that controls oil prices, that it will reduce oil production by 100,000 barrels per day in what is a warning shot across the bow.
Hmm.
And they're basically wording this as it's a shot across the bow as a warning signal to the market that it's serious about cutting this because
Trying to
people are
cut.
trying to get the price to go back up because people are afraid of recession.
Yeah.
Um, and then Monday, Europe announces they may suspend trading in power derivatives. So now you're starting to see this work its way to the futures and commodities market because, speculators are going to speculate, of course. And then the other news was Europe is going to be implementing price caps on things, as well as opening up lines of credit and easing credit requirements for operations to continue to run as it pertains to liquidity in the natural gas and energy sector for Europe.
Hmm.
So this is very serious. This is like the first chapter of the book of how a superpower collapses. That's the first chapter. We don't do anything without energy. We we need energy to work as a society. Without this,
Hmm.
Europe, NATO, that whole area is donezo. They can't make cars, they can't produce food, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So
Can't do
me
shit.
and you talked about this, saying going into the fall and the winter time here, with the dollar rising in value, with debt getting more difficult for other nations to pay sovereign debt, with the commodity prices going up. Because keep in mind, it's a double whammy. Gas is going up, and the euro's ability to buy gas is going down, all at the same time. Think about that. Your currency is losing value. On top of that, commodities are also going up in value, both at the same time.
Mhm.
It's not one or the other, both. So your euro lost like 30% in value, and your price went up 3x in your costs. That's like unfathomable. Like, this is something that we haven't seen since the 70s and 80s. So we're going in some really interesting times here pretty soon. I'm very worried for those guys and gals over there in the EU zone, because it's, even if they get through this winter, we have to understand, because some people be like, well, they're resilient, they'll get through it, and I don't doubt that. But the economic implications of this, as a currency standpoint, as a
Yeah.
future cost perspective standpoint, over the next 5 to 10 years, are massive. We're
Yeah,
talking changing of the world order.
like what has the pound done? Yeah, like the pound is down against the dollar, like what, 40% in the last year? 30? Like more than 30, I
It just hit a
think,
new all-time low yesterday.
right? Like
Let's see.
30% against the dollar, and the euro, it's like same fucking issue, right?
Yeah, in
Obviously, I mean the euro
2022.
and the pound are going to be correlated as fuck, but similar issue.
Yeah, it's a nightmare right now, and you know, this is where it's like, you don't know exactly the order of operations, but you know all the pieces of the puzzle are there. You don't know exactly how they're going to get put together or when,
Yeah,
but they're there. So that's like your warning sign, is when all the pieces are there when they shouldn't be, right? You
yeah,
shouldn't have insane inflation rates. You shouldn't have tons of global descent going on. You shouldn't have a cutting off of power, or a reliance of gas and natural energy to one country who is typically kind of an asshole, Russia. You
uh-huh,
shouldn't have any of these things together. And you shouldn't have it also all lining up on basically the same year that we are due for a big economic cycle,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
every 10 to 12 years, and this one's on the 50-year mark, which is a super cycle. So when all those things are there and you see the supply chain disrupted and you see your dollar buying you less and you see rent going up and you see more dissent going on in politics and you see something like NATO clearly close to collapse here when it comes to their ability to keep their people happy and being able to pay for power and stuff,
Uh-huh.
this is where you get clever and smart and do as much as you can to prepare. Not
Yeah.
like I'm saying there's a nuke that's going to hit tomorrow, but like this is where you get smart. You don't pretend like everything's going to be just fine. Go out and get drunk with your buddies and do whatever, because that's going to get you wrecked. That's going to get you wrecked big time. Unless you really got all your shit taken care of. You're retired already and like you're done, like cool beans. I'll probably shut up. But a lot
Yeah.
of people aren't, man. A lot of people in the United States are living paycheck to paycheck. That's what I'm talking.
Oh man, like what's the number that gets touted around? It's like 80.
It's ridiculous, dude.
It's
It's absolutely
crazy. Every time I hear that, uh, Paycheck to Paycheck USA. Every time I hear this number, it's crazy. So the first article that comes up is CNBC 2022 March 8th. 64% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, which means and the average like the next number that also always fucks with my brain, average USA savings, I think, account. It's like median balance of $5,000. And this is August 2022. The first link on Google when I Google average USA savings account. So yeah, people like the normal American is living paycheck to paycheck with less than $5,000 in their savings account.
Yeah.
That's always
Crazy.
just crazy. Just it's what like it's it not a mind, just like a reminder that that is kind of the status quo, you know? I like it's a good it's not that that is a good thing. It's just a good place. Like if you're in like a fortunate position where I don't know, you get to fuck around with crypto, like I think both you and I do. Like you get to look at that and be like, "Holy smokes." Like crazy. And at the same time, yeah, at the same time, fucking crazy. Paycheck to
Yeah.
paycheck,
It's
5 grand in the bank.
it's tough, dude.
Yeah.
It's super tough. And you know, it's crazy, as tightening keeps happening and the dollar keeps ripping in value. Because think about it, everybody's freaking out. They're still freaking out. They need to pay all their debt and sell shit, right? They're trying to sell stuff to pay their debt, whether it's stocks, whether it's bonds, their car, their freaking houses now. They're all fleeing into the dollar. It's like the last safe haven. That's why the DXY has risen up as high as it has. And I'm telling you, like, there's going to be a day where the dollar does not have that place where it's going to hold, not as well, right? It's not going to have that strength. So that's kind of the key to look for when it comes to that shift that's going to happen. I'm not quite sure when, but eventually people are going to realize that the dollar doesn't have this perceived value anymore for whatever reason, and that's the key: perceived value. People perceive the U.S. dollar as strong and have value because of all these things, right? Our military, our political
Mhm.
climate, all that stuff, right? GDP, and the point is this shift that's happening. There's only going to be a certain amount of time to prepare for it because eventually people are going to run out of shit to sell. The dollar is going to get too strong. It's going to cause a lot of things to break, like it always does. And people are going to also stop dealing in dollars, like we talked about before. You have more people de-dollarizing, more countries de-dollarizing, more countries getting off the dollar standard as it pertains to petrol and not
Yeah.
dealing with oil in the U.S. dollar anymore. Like the shift has already started. It's already done. The dollar is done being the reserve currency. It just hasn't fully happened yet. It's like a slow shift. So
Yeah.
smart people are getting out now, using the strength of the dollar to buy assets that are undervalued in comparison to the U.S. dollar specifically, right? So if the dollar is buying you the most hex right now, because it's on a huge rip. When did you want to buy Hex? When it was at 50 cents or 2 cents? I don't know. I want a better deal. I like the asset either way. If I'm
Yeah.
buying a pair of Yeezys, do I want a legit pair of Yeezys at retail or do I want them at $500 markup? Probably at
Yeah.
retail. It's a better price. I still want the damn Yeezys.
Yeah.
Maybe a bad example, but you get the point, right?
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity. And I don't get that whole thing where people get really afraid, like, oh, what if it all goes to zero, like everything? It's like, well, dude, well,
Yeah.
then you could be a prepper and become a farmer. Like you have bigger problems to worry about. Like
Yeah.
if shit goes
Yeah.
to zero, I'm done.
True.
Like that's it. I don't care about the internet. Don't care about my iPhone. I'm planting a farm and I'm living with my girl.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. So that shouldn't even be on your horizon. Shouldn't
Yeah.
even be there because that's way bigger problems are going on. But
Yeah.
we'll see. The last time we talked about this, we were curious what was going to happen with oil prices and natural gas prices. And it's funny enough that we did our next show again a month later, and Europe literally is about to print billions of euros again to send to people because these people can't afford their energy
Hmm.
costs going into the fall and winter. So unprecedented times, man. We've never seen the devaluing of currencies the way we have recently.
Yeah. Actually, the tweet I want to bring up is our buddy, well, a buddy to the Hex community, Eric Wall. Do you know that guy?
Yeah, I do. Is he a buddy? I feel like people like hate him and
I
also
don't know. I don't hate him. Like he I like he's an OG Bitcoiner. He's extremely technically educated.
I just need to
Ex
say stupid crap all the time about Hex. All the
Oh
time.
yeah. Oh yeah. Like lots of times like he becomes Erica on Twitter for weeks or months at a time, right? Like he obviously has fun and fucks around. But like he is one of the guys that will show his face. Like he showed what I can't remember where it was, but wherever Richard like was in somewhere in Europe like a month, I don't know, a month or two ago, he showed up to debate him in person,
Yeah, I saw that.
and so many of the fucking like Eric Wall is no longer a maxi. And like Richard Hart used to be a maxi at one point, just the way Eric Wall used to be a maxi. Like they are, I don't know, not like similar people, but like they have, I don't know, like a ton of knowledge and experience and expertise in like the technical underpinnings and the world of like fucking code base when it comes to Bitcoin. So Eric Wall is extremely admired by a ton of like the Bitcoin maxis even to today. And so like he shows up, like I don't know, I respect him. I respect his opinion on like a whole bunch of shit. I respect, yeah, that he showed up and like I don't know, like fucking had a debate and had like a live, real conversation with Richard, where like he was like, "Yo, Richard, why the fuck don't you ever go to the USA?" And then literally like a month later, because of the stuff that happened with Richard, he was like, "Yo,
Yep.
buddy, I'm in the USA. Like easy bet to win. So fucking I don't know, like whatever." Like they're both of them to me are like OG like fucking hardcore Bitcoiners that have learned a lot along the way. So I do like him a lot. But the one, what was I trying to bring up about him again? It was literally, so he's Swedish, Eric Wall is, and he tweeted something about like the Swedish like stimulus package, in addition to the Europe package that's coming out because of the energy crisis, and it was crazy, and he was just like taken aback by it as well. So when I say Eric Wall is our buddy or my buddy, or yeah, I do think he's got like he's a good guy, or I don't know, a smart guy. I don't know many. I obviously I've never spoken with him, so I don't have many other terms to use. But
Sure.
I do appreciate his insight. I think into Bitcoin specifically, plus everything else. Um, fuck. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it, but it was about the fucking big energy shit in Sweden, and Europe in general.
Yeah, we'll see what Eric Wall does because I think he could be a great asset to the community, but he's I just see him constantly saying stupid stuff. That's why him and Richard like duked it out.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Like
he I think like there's a whole bunch of conspiracy theories that he's pretty long on Hex, and like I haven't done that chain analysis myself, but some people think he's rather long on Hex. So,
well, I'm always
and
fought
Paul
everybody's
and
bag,
Paul Sachs.
trying to fight everybody's bags, get a better price.
Yeah, exactly. Type of thing, you know. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not
Smart
gonna
man.
find this one area, but maybe before we go, sh- let's look at what we've done in this past month since we last checked in, because the last time we checked in would have been, I think it would have been August 1st. Is that right?
I think so.
Is that correct? August 1st. Yeah, I think that sounds right. The first Monday, and that was our announce to the change. So 5 weeks, Ryan, we've been absent here. Anyways, so let's go back down to August 1st. August 1, day 973. So we recently just ticked over like the 1,000-day mark of flawless operation of the contract. Price, which one's price? Price was 4.8 cents. What's the other number that I like to look at here? The stake length. Oh, fuck, I didn't highlight it. Stake length, average stake length, 6.52 years.
Went back up a little bit
So
again.
it's up in a month from 6.52 up to 6.56. The price, I don't know if it's up. I think it's down 4.8 cents to 4.2 cents. So that's down. And then T shares on the market. Let me highlight a little bit further, somewhere over here. T shares in circulation, 10,433,000. So more T shares. So T shares have been minted, aka people are staking more. Right, that kind of adds up with the
Yep.
stake length kind of going up from 6.52 years up to 6.56. So that's sweet. Last time, let me pull up that number really quick. Last time we talked about I think this is inflation, right? Yeah, this is inflation. So inflation had been recently recorded as 9.1, and we were kind of waiting around, I think, for an August reading come August 10th. So that's what came out August 10th was this 8.5 reading, and the market's pumped on it, right? Markets pumped everywhere. They're like, oh, and yeah, this was the whole, like we were kind of talking about this last time as well. Oh, it's not a recession. There, it's not like there's so many things that define a recession. Let's redefine it. And the month of July or the month of July saw 0% in like a whole bunch of these fucking stupid talking points just because they're the fucking party that holds the office. Like, just tell us, yo, inflation. Guess what? Inflation in July was not 0. It wasn't down here. It was still 8.5. It was just like it did not increase month over month. That's all. Like, and that's like the fucking little out that the current administration gave themselves. So it went from 9.1 to 8.5. Markets kind of pumped on that in general. All of like basically all the indexes, Dow, S&P, Nasdaq, everything did. Even crypto a little bit. I'd say it's been a bit of a rally since we saw each other. Hey,
Yep. Well,
should I
yeah.
go? Should I go to CoinGecko here and see what the fuck happened in the past month in Bitcoin? Like, dude, I've so rarely actually watched the Bitcoin chart anymore. It's ridiculous. Oh
Bitcoin's
shit.
just
Well, Bitcoin's fucking down.
yeah. Bitcoin has had terrible strength. And it's like in another descending
So
wedge, about
so
to break down again to the
we
downside.
were somewhere around August 1 where Bitcoin was 22 and now Bitcoin is 19.8 ETH. Like personally prefer to like watch ETH. Like fuck Bitcoin. So ETH on August 1st, which I think is when we held this last, was 1622. Yeah, so there was a pump off of like the quote unquote low inflation numbers, and then there was a bit of a dump below what those early month numbers were. So that was our inflation shit. We're waiting for new inflation data to come out on September 13th. So soon, a week from today, right? And if the levers are in place and they're working properly or working as expected by the Fed and shit, we should, or they hope, I guess, they hope to see this number go down or stay flat, 8.5. If we go up, man, it's fucking all like it's like no holds barred. Like it's I don't know. It's like no rules if it goes back above 9.1 here, which it completely could because we've seen multiple countries in the Europe in the UK go up again in this past month. So that's possible to see that this bumps back up as opposed to staying flat, even in light of some of like the Fed pressures that they're trying to enact. Like September 1st was technically the first day that I think QT started. So where they actually started selling stuff from their balance sheet. But like there are ways which again, like I'm learning about constantly, there are ways in which they can increase liquidity and balance in light of tightening. So there's so many fucking levers and weights and shit that lead to like these outcomes as decided by fucking one committee by for the most part. So this is a big number that I'll watch for.
Yeah.
GDP. When was the last day that we got GDP? I can't remember. It actually doesn't have a table here for me. But the one thing that I found was funny, just looking at like this Fred GDP chart over like so this is 1950 over here over to 2020. Guess what they don't have shaded. So if you look here, can you see my screen, Ryan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Shaded areas indicate US recessions. Okay, interesting. Let's zoom in on some of these recessions. Okay, so 2008 GDP declined 2 quarters in a row, so they shaded it as a recession. 2020 GDP declined 2 quarters in a row, so it shaded a recession. Guess what happened recently? Oh fuck, I fucked up. GDP declined 2 quarters in a row, and it's not shaded as a recession over here. Just thought that was funny.
I had myself muted by accident.
It's okay. So 20, like the last recession that we can actually see shaded is 2020 by the definitions that they used to use. But interestingly enough, like this is one of our talking points last time in our notes was recession. I had like one of my notes was recession, question mark, question mark, question mark, brackets, lol, because it's just like it's become, oh, okay. So the term recession, like now I have to no longer use that in my vocabulary because the fucking current administration has decided to change what that means. Okay. Okay, so how about just like 2 quarters of negative GDP? It's still not showing up on this fucking chart, which is so funny. So just thought that was funny. Looking at the GDP. I don't know when the next date is that we're looking for a GDP. Um,
I think we should be getting another revision pretty soon.
we should be getting a revision, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a couple revisions. One of them's coming up pretty
August
soon.
August 25th, I think, was the first one. I honestly don't even know what it came out to. I don't know what that is. This is Eric Wall's Twitter. I was not able to find the tweet about Sweden, but he was absolutely shitting on Sweden um and the EU because they were talking about printing like crazy amounts of money in the current environment. So that's kind of like my last little tidbit to share. But yeah, Eric Wall overall, man, whatever that debate was that he showed up like in person for with Richard, uh, maybe what 4 months ago. I can't remember where it was, but respect, like, yeah, respect. He showed up, talked his points, answered questions, pushed back against Richard. Cool, like good, like fucking rights. That's and respect to like Richard. Pushed back against him, answered his criticisms, his like whatever. That's ultimately, I think, what we're looking for. I just heard what I can't remember what I was watching. I think I was watching a K for K video, and like I think one of the hallmarks of like Hex and Richard is going to be like real DeFi. One of the yeah, hallmarks of the chain and the community is yeah, real fucking DeFi. No admin keys in the products. Code is finished, immutable, like shit like that, you know? And that's I think there is, at least with the bets I've placed, I think there is a lot of value in that fucking actual like no bullshit DeFi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool to see, fun to watch, especially fun to watch when somebody of that like technical prowess like comes to engage with Richard. Like he Eric Wall is one of the guys in the Bitcoin community that they're like he could be like the spokesperson, quote unquote, for Bitcoin. And it's like, well, not that you want that or you need that, but he's yeah, I just think he's a really well spoken, well educated, uh, and I think he understands the whole system like quite well.
Well, I'll be paying attention to see when he changes his tune.
Hmm.
We'll see if he ever does.
I don't
We
know.
all know a lot of people will change their tunes when Pulse Chain actually comes out. We
Yeah.
already know. But we'll see exactly when certain people change their tunes.
Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man. I mean, the next time we talk, we're going to see how Germany's faring. We're going to
Absolutely.
see what's going on with the financial system. Nothing major has broken as of yet for now. I mean, there's a lot of things breaking, but specifically relating to the US dollar rising in value. And we'll see how much the Fed is going to raise interest rates here
Hmm.
pretty soon. So,
Yeah, end of September, right? September 20 20 something?
right around there.
20. Some of our other numbers, and maybe yeah, I think we will try to get a little more on schedule with a some sort of topic here. This one is more a reintroduction to the mindset of fitness, and we're going to be here month over month. First
Yep.
Monday of the month, every freaking month. I was trying to think of a clever name, month over month. What I don't know, I couldn't quite figure it. So what I can't remember what I put in the screen cap or in the clickbait. What the fuck's the word I'm looking for here, Ryan?
I don't know.
The thing that you click on YouTube, like when it shows you.
Oh, subscribe.
No, like
Oh,
where you can see
notification bell.
the little icon. Like you can kind of choose the thumbnail. Ah, thumbnail. Thumbnail. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
I thought it was the bell, the notification
Hmm.
icon bell.
Well, if you're here and you see the bell, click it. But in the thumbnail, I think I ended up calling it monthly mindset, and I was trying to think of like a month over month fitness. I don't know. I was trying to like make it play with like financy shit. It's like a month over month finance or a month over month fitness uh something, but I think this is a good start.
Yep,
This is
absolutely,
a
man.
good start. We'll start here, I think month over month, and I think yeah, I think it's a good idea to schedule in interviews kind of like outside of these because if we throw an interview in here, then these kind of just get ousted, right? Like these kind of chats do not happen. So
Yep. We'll see where things sit, man.
yeah,
It's going to be an interesting 4 weeks.
yes, it will
Cool.
be. We're down back at 4 cents. Um, I don't have a crystal ball, so this like personally, it's been some of the most buying that I've done in a long time. Just like we could be before the bottom, we could be at the bottom, we could be after the bottom.
Yep.
Right?
Likewise.
So
Yep.
I think this is one of the things we said probably like multiple shows ago. So in probably in July, or maybe it was the August 1 show, I'm not sure, was just to be like buying into the end of the year consistently. And man, do I think that uh advice or that idea, like or that strategy is going to pay off massively. Like if you've been buying from the summer through to the end of the year, I think that I think it's going to be huge. Not financial advice, any, of course, but I just think yeah, that's the way it's looking.
Yeah. I mean, you could wait for the 98% correction, but it may not come. I mean, shit, dude. So
Hmm.
we'll see. We'll see. I can't imagine why people wouldn't want to buy around this area. It's a pretty safe bet, unless you think everything's going to zero. Which, once again, go learn how to farm
Yeah, yeah,
because that's what I'll be doing too.
yep.
So,
Same, brother.
but yeah, man, I'm excited for next time. We'll have a lot of stuff to cover, and if people do have any like questions on nutrition stuff, as always, please pop them in there.
Yeah,
We're always open
absolutely.
to answer things.
Yep, 100%. Okay, well, that was good, man. So next official episode, first Monday of the month is going to be October 3. Um, I think there's potential for maybe an interview to be set up before then, but I'd say it's pretty light. Like I know the doc is interested, so we'll reach out to her, see when she might want to come back on, maybe October or maybe before then. So watch out for some announcements from us, the channel, and yeah, stick
Sounds good.
stay in touch, and we will see you guys next time.
See you next time, peeps.
Peace.